It is so nice outside, holy shit. I ride my bikes like everybody on the street is gonna fucking hit me. I mean, when I got my daughter on the back, that's a different story. I cruise, you know. I don't fucking bang gears when my daughter's on the bike. My she's on the back, I just cruise around. And, I mean, I don't take my time because she's definitely used to my riding style. She's been riding with me for a long time. I gotta sneeze, this is gonna sound bad. Damn! Anyways, she's been riding with me since she was a year old. Not on the street, so don't get any stupid ideas. She was a year old. A buddy of mine had a 50, Sierra 50. I said, hey, let me borrow that for a minute. Put her on my lap. Took off first gear. I just wanted to put her on in first gear, you know, just to cruise around, see if she'd like it. You know, I held on to her with one hand. I wasn't all herky-jerky. I just put her around super slow. Start crying, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. I said, okay, you don't want to ride, that's fine. I rode literally probably, I don't know, 30, not even 30 feet. She's like, hey, mommy. I'm like, okay. I stopped. I set her down. She walked over to my wife. And I fucking go to take off. She started crying. She's running towards me with her arms up in the air. I said, okay. Put her on the bike. And that was the end of it. Right there. That's where it all started. I was like, man, now I gotta get a pit bike so she can ride. She didn't want to get off the damn thing. She got upset when I had to give it back to my friend. Started crying, getting all upset. So I borrowed another friend's bike, and all she wanted to do was ride. She loved riding. That was summer of, about end of the summer, like August or so. September of 09. That fall, I was talking to a guy on a forum that I know. I was a pretty active member at CustomFighters.com. I think it was an 08. No, it wasn't an 08. It was an 05 or an 06. TTR 50, had an 88cc big bore, had fucking BBR, not BBR suspension, had GYTR suspension, genuine Yamaha suspension, big bars, handbrake. I mean, it had the bigger carb on it, bigger head. I mean, it was fucking there, you know, but it was all fucking Yamaha parts. And I was like, damn. And he was selling it for like $1,000. And I was joking around. I was like, damn, I always wanted a fucking pit bike. Here's my chance, you know. It was like $1,000. I couldn't fucking afford it. I didn't have $1,000 to spend. I was joking with him because it was a buddy of mine. I was like, take payments, laugh out loud. And he posts up like 20 minutes later. He goes, call me. I'm like, all right. So I called him. I was like, what up? He goes, you serious? I was like, about what? He goes, I'll let you make payments on it. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, I don't have to do that, man. I was like, what am I going to give you? Fucking $100 a month? He's like, you can give me less than that. I was like, yeah, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to drag it out. You know, you probably fucking need the money. He's like, I don't have to sell it. He's like, but if I was going to sell it to somebody and do payments, he goes, I'd do it in a heartbeat for you. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I went to his house and I fucking picked it up. I didn't even have any fucking money on me. He's like, come pick it up this weekend. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, I got the title for it and everything. I was like, oh, fucking sweet. So I drove out to his house. He was like an hour and 20 minutes away. Drove out to his fucking house, threw it in the back of the truck, shot the shit with him. I said, you said you had parts for it. He said, all the stock parts for it. He's like, yeah, I gotta find them. I'm like, all right. He's like, I gotta find a title too. He's like, I moved and whatever. I was like, don't worry about it. I ain't worried. It's not like I didn't do anything with it. Put a plate on it or anything. It's a 50. Get the bike, bring it home, and I hide it. I don't know how many times I rode the fucking thing, but I hid it for my wife because I wanted to like surprise her for Christmas. I wanted to bring it out and put it underneath the tree for Christmas. I fucking rode it a couple times and Brought it to some friend's house, and she had no fucking clue I even had it. I hid it downstairs. I had a walkout basement. I hid it in my shop underneath the bench. I stapled a flag to the fucking bench and hid it underneath the bench. It was hilarious. I had the thing for like three and a half months. She never fucking had it. She didn't even have a clue. So I give it to her for Christmas, whatever. When they're like, oh, we got a 50, my daughter fucking runs up to it. She's like, motorcycle. I was like, yeah, we got a bike now. She rode on my lap on that bike every year until she was like almost 5. You know, she was riding. We started stunting on it. She was sitting on my lap doing fucking wheelies, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna grow up. My daughter's gonna grow up, and she's gonna fucking love motorcycles. We can go ride together, and that was like the fucking high point of my life, knowing that my daughter loved fucking motorcycles. Oh, I was like, oh my god. So she rode on my lap until she was 4. I was like, fucking getting big, girl, you know. And she was grabbing the gas and all that stuff once in a while, and I was like, all right, you know, maybe we should find her one. I had sold my 636, and I had an 06 250F, Yamaha 250F. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to sell my dirt bike. She's like, you just bought it. I said, yeah, but I bought it to flip. I said, but if I have a chance to sell it and find a 50 for her birthday, get her a 50 for her birthday. She's like, okay. So I fucking sold it. Lo and behold, the days after I sold it, a buddy of mine, he's not with us anymore. He committed suicide last year. But he was selling a bike. He was in need of some money. You know, he was trying to take care of his girl. I called him up. I said, what do you want for it? He goes, I want $500 for it. I'm like, fucking game on. So basically all the money that I just made, like profit off of this 250 I just sold, I bought the bike. Came with big bars, everything. I bought some pink plastics for it. I had some friends fucking print out a graphics kit for it. Gave it to her for her 5th birthday, and she's been riding ever since. My daughter's been riding with me ever since. My daughter loves riding. She absolutely loves to ride. Gave my daughter her 50 for her 5th birthday. I made some training wheels for it, and she got a little nervous. She rode it for maybe about 50 feet. She didn't like it. I was like, okay, so you don't have to ride it. Just, you know, I said, we'll give it to mom and you can just ride with us. I said, but you're gonna get big to the point where, you know, you're not going to be able to sit on our lap anymore, you know, but if you don't want to ride it, that's fine. And she's like, I want to try again. I'm like, okay. After that, same thing. Bam. She was back in the saddle. She had her training wheels on for a year, and after that, I took them off. A year later, I took training wheels off. The same day, she learned how to ride her bicycle with no training wheels. So 6 years old, she was riding a motorcycle without training wheels and her bicycle. Was so proud that day. It was that summer, and she's just ripping up my yard. One day she tells me, after we moved into our house, this was last summer, she goes, Daddy, I'm gonna go do 100 laps around the yard. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking to myself, 100, she's just playing. She counted 100 laps in my yard and fucking wore the grass away around the tree and the garden I got in the back. 100 fucking laps. Couldn't believe it. She came in the house for dinner and she's like, I'm at 72. And I'm like, 72 what? She goes, laps. I'm like, you've gone that far? And she's like, yeah. She's like, I gotta hurry up and eat so I can go finish to get 100. I was like, holy shit. I got this Grom last year. It was a leftover, 2014. And she'd already been riding with me forever. You know, he's sitting on my lap and everything, riding a 50, doing wheelies and everything. And I said, you want to ride a Grom? And she's like, okay. She's like, I don't have a helmet. I said, well, your dirt bike helmet is approved for the road. It's DOT approved. She's like, okay. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, we'll ride around the backyard. And if you feel okay, we'll go for a ride on the road for a little bit and we'll come home. She's like, okay. So we took a ride around the yard, and I said, how do you feel? She's like, it's okay. I'm like, all right, because she wasn't really used to riding behind me. She was always sitting on my lap, holding on to the handlebars, or just holding on to my legs. So I said, you feel like you're okay? She's like, yeah. I was like, I'll tell you what. So jump on the bike. We'll ride with my friend Matt. And I said, we'll go to the motorcycle dealer. I have to get something. And I said, if you want to go home, I'll drop you off after that. And she's like, okay. And it was the first day taking the Grom out. And first time I was ever riding the Grom. And she's like, okay. So we saddle up and we ride to the corner, which is like maybe 100 yards. I said, you okay? She goes, I'm nervous. She giggled though. You still want to go? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So we ride and, you know, cruising. I take my time with the clutch so she doesn't feel like herky-jerky with it. Whatever. Not that the bike has a lot of power, but if she's not used to somebody being behind her, you know, I don't want her to fall off. So we rode to the bike shop and I did what I had to do. And I can't remember what I bought. I bought something small enough to put in my pocket. I said, how do you feel? I said, what do you want to do? She's like, I'm okay. I said, you want to go home? She goes, no. I was like, oh, where do you want to go? She's like, I don't care. I said, all right, time to ride. Yeah, she wants me to put like a sissy bar on it. You know, something that will, like a pad behind her back so she feels a little bit more safe, which is okay. She does very, very well. She knows how to ride. She knows how to turn. She knows how to hold herself and balance and everything during takeoff and braking. She does really, really good for a kid her age. I mean, mind you, we're only riding this little bike, but it's she does very well. I'm proud of her. Guy, please don't blow this light because I will be fucking stuck here all night. So that's my daughter's story. We are a motorcycle family. My wife really doesn't ride with me that much, to be honest with you. She's ridden with me a few times. She definitely doesn't ride the Grom with me because two adults on this little thing is like, I can hear the motor bursting into fucking tears. It yells at me all the time, but two adults on this fucking thing is like retarded. My wife rode with me a few times when I had my 636 Street Fighter. She rode with me maybe once or twice when I had my Yamaha Street Fighter. She rode with me once on one of my uncles let me borrow his 954 when it first came out. He bought it. He had like, I don't know, a couple thousand miles on his bike. She rode with me all day on that one. She's been out with me maybe less than a double, like maybe a dozen times at the very most. What up, Joe?